What's going on, people? It's Hypnofist here. Just checking in with you guys. Hope you're well. Now, this video has been long overdue. This is a prediction for the upcoming fight between Dillian Whyte and Alexander Povetkin. Now, although the fight has been agreed before the coronavirus hit, it looks like the fight's been delayed until May now. Not May, sorry, August. I think Eddie Hearn made a statement last week via the boxing media websites that it looks like it's been agreed to go forward in August. That's obviously pending the fact that the second wave doesn't arrive in the UK. So yeah, the fights looks like the initial dates are mid-August now. Looks like the dates are going to August now. Now, from a styles point of view, you've got Dillian and Povetkin. Dillian and Povetkin are quite similar in terms of styles. I would say that Dillian is a puncher slash. Well, I'd say he's a brawler first and foremost, and a puncher and a slugger. In terms of level, I would say he is. Now, this is in terms of skill sets, and his total ability to fight. So not just skill, IQ, his ability to dictate, ring generalship, everything. I would say that he is a low-level champion status, even though he doesn't hold any titles. I mean, he's the interim WBC champion. He's never held a full world title, but in terms of levels, I'd say he's probably a low-level champion. And you've got Povetkin. Povetkin is, to me, a pressure fighter, and he is equal parts a slugger as well. Now, in terms of skill sets, I would say that Povetkin is an aging fighter, and I would say that he is a contender. He's a contender level fighter. So yeah, I'd put him at that level. Now, in terms of styles, abilities and styles breakdown, Povetkin is a slugger and a pressure fighter. He's someone who likes to fight on the front foot. He's actually mostly effective on the front foot only. On the back foot, he's pretty useless, which I'll speak on in a second. He's quite explosive on the front foot. And he uses pressure quite well. His movement in terms of attacking on the front foot, he sort of launches in and leaps in with punch combinations, which aren't very high punch combination. He usually throws a two punch combination or 3-punch combination, and he likes to attack on the front foot with hooks. He doesn't really use jabs. He relies more on the power shot, so he uses a left hook when he's leaping in. And he also uses like a right hand that he sort of sets up with a step in and then an overhand right, but he throws it like a fastball, so it comes at you very quick. He's he's a very effective guy on the front foot. Even though he's from the sort of older era of the current heavyweights, he's still very effective, man. He's well, you could say he's either very effective or it's the heavyweight division, the standards within the heavyweight division are very poor in general, which is that could be another video, because a lot of talk goes on around the heavyweight division right now, but from a historical point of view, all of these guys are poor. AJ, Fury. I mean, Fury's good, but Deontay Wilder, obviously, he looks like he may be on his way out soon if he doesn't beat Fury in the rematch. Dillian, when I'm comparing them to previous eras, so if you compare them to the 90s heavyweights, I mean, they're not really, today's heavyweights aren't really that good when you compare era for era. But that's another video. Now, Povetkin, his weak points as a fighter. He struggles when he doesn't initiate the exchanges. So if he's catching up to an opponent or he's playing second fiddle on the front foot, then he struggles a little bit. And he himself doesn't like pressure, and he doesn't like to trade with opponents. He'd rather exchange, but he's not very fast in the exchange. Um, he's someone who sort of makes sure that there's no punches oncoming before he commits to, throwing something back at an opponent. He doesn't really outright counter. He sort of counters, a bit, He's very slow to come back on the counter, and he's not good on the exchange. So if you can get inside of him and bang out, you can catch him with something, because his hands, his positioning for his hands isn't really that good. And he lingers at the mid range as well. Now, that makes him open to counter shots. You can catch him on the counter quite easily if you're sharp enough and if you're fast enough. You can catch him on the counter. And yeah, he lingers at that mid range, and he pulls in and out in straight lines. So he can be timed coming in, and he can be timed coming out, and he can be countered on the way out as well with a straight shot. So his movement coming in and out is very straight. So he comes right at you, he moves right out. He doesn't use angles going in or coming out. So a bit of patience and a bit of timing, you can start to catch Povetkin. So he is open slightly. Now, looking at Dillian from a stylistic point of view, Dillian is a pressure fighter. He's a decent counter puncher. I mean, he's a good counter puncher, but he doesn't really rely on his counter punching too much. Not in his last couple of fights. He is a brawler. He has okay stamina. I mean, the problem is Dylan's has decent output, but when he throws his high, when he works at a high volume, his usual pace, he burns out, and he fades out towards the second half of the fight, especially the championship rounds. He sort of burns out completely. So he's got a good work rate, but he's got very poor stamina. That was very evident in the 12th round against Joseph Parker, where he nearly got knocked out. I mean, he was started to take control from the third round, I believe. He started to take control of the fight, and he was bossing Joseph Parker, and he was throwing at above average work rate, but he faded out. So since then he fought Chisora. He fought Rivas, and he fought Whack, and he started employing a much more strategic tactics inside the ring. So he started pacing himself more. He started using an active guard to measure and control the opponents coming in on him, and he's using speed variation on his shots. He's feinting, then he'd step in with a jab, but no, don't actually throw the jab. So he sort of half steps in with the feint. He changes his feinting speed. He goes up and down. These are little things that Dillian's been adding to his game, it's a very educated jab. He's brought on an educated jab to his game. He has a very good double up on his hook. So he goes to the head twice very well. He also goes to the body very well. He's very educated with his hooks, and his hook is probably his most dangerous punch. It's very heavy, very hard. He throws very hard, heavy shots. To be honest, Dillian is probably the most improved heavyweight in the sport, in terms of where he's been in since the Lucas Brown fight. You've seen Dillian to me has shown the most improvement as a fighter, and I believe he is the most improved heavyweight in the game, more so than Anthony Joshua, more so than Tyson Fury, more so than Deontay Wilder. I think Dillian Whyte displays more skills than Deontay Wilder, but obviously Deontay's got the big power punch, But I think Dylan is one of the most improved fighters, and his situation with the WBC as well, which is it's beyond outrageous. I mean, Dylan's been he's been getting mugged off by the WBC. Suleiman, he's just straight taking it for he's taking it for a bit of an idiot. He's giving him the running around. Dylan's paying his sanctioning fees. I'll speak on that at the end of the video. Actually, I don't want to take up too much time with that. Now Dylan's weak points is he still has stamina. He has balance issues. So one thing I've noticed with Dylan, he stands quite straight up on his feet, and he doesn't allow him to maintain correct balance when he starts throwing his shots and throwing combinations. Another thing as well is that Dylan overcommits to his punches, so the punches come off wild sometimes. If he misses, he's flying halfway around the ring with his hook or something like that. He does overcommit with his punches, but Dylan's a puncher and a brawler, so it's just going to be natural for him to throw everything on the shot whenever he tries to throw something. It's mostly his balance issues. He stands very straight up on his knees. He doesn't bend at the knees at all sometimes, and when he's throwing, he sort of throws him completely off balance. So but these are things that he's been working on improving with his team, Mr. Tibbs and all them guys. They've been working on his all these little balance issues and things like that, and improving him as a fighter. And he's got the right attitude as well. He seems to in the interviews he comes across as someone who wants to learn. Yeah, he's just talking about it's to put the work in, work, which is good. It's good to hear a heavyweight talk like that. It'll be an interesting fight. Now, most people, Povetkin is still an excellent contender. To be honest, Povetkin is more than capable of beating Dylan. Dylan. The thing is with Dylan, he's probably one of his worst flaws is that Dylan has to come in his fights tip-top shape. If he slacks in camp, it becomes very, very, very noticeable in the fight. I mean, he's not the most polished boxer. He doesn't have the greatest technique. His fundamentals aren't really as good as some of the other elite level guys. So if Dylan hasn't come in camp in great shape, it's very noticeable in the fight. He doesn't hold his poise very well. He gets very ragged, and he doesn't make for an eye pleasing fight if you're thinking about it from the judge's point of view. So Dylan's main problem is that he has to come in tip top shape. Povetkin as an opponent is he's still a dangerous opponent for everyone. I mean, the fact that he beat younger Tyson Fury, not Tyson Fury, Fury, sorry, and he held a draw against Michael Hunter, who himself is a very excellent prospect in the heavyweight division. Says a lot. I mean, about Povetkin's ability. And for this one, however, I think that this one is going to be a very competitive fight, but I think it will go to the cards. And I think Dylan's ring generalship, he'll be able to control Povetkin. And I think he'll be able to control him just enough to win on points. I think it's going to be very close on the cards. I don't think this one's going to be, I don't think this one's going to be, a clear 12 round, shutout on the cards. So I think this is going to be close on the cards. I think Povetkin's going to be an excellent opponent. He's going to make Dylan work very hard to get the win. I don't think Dylan's going to knock him out this time. I think even though Povetkin is a bit chinny, I mean, he got rocked by Hunter and he got hurt by David Price. I think Dylan is going to try to choose a smart fight. I think he's going to fight a tactical fight, and he's going to try to slow down Povetkin's output, and he's going to be very close on the cards. And if we're being honest, Dylan does have time advantage, being he's Eddie Hearn is Dillian is a client of Eddie Hearn's. It's going to be a Matchroom show. He's the A side in terms of the pay per view. So Dillian's going to have the judges slightly on his side. The Sky Sports team, obviously they're going to be cheering him on, and so I actually think Dillian's going to likely win on points. I think Dillian wins a points, very close points decision, maybe a majority decision. I think it's going to be close on points, so I'll give it to Dillian on points. Ending this video though, I want to quickly touch on the WBC situation. I mean, look, as it stands right now, Dillian is still the mandatory for the WBC champion. However, I mean, Suleiman is, it seems like they're looking all systems go to make the Anthony Joshua fight, Tyson Fury, or Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder fight before Dillian's going to get his title shot. So at this stage, I think Dillian should really start looking at legal action against Suleiman and the WBC. I mean, if he does have grounds for a case, I think he should consider it in order to either solidify his position as the next fighter who's going to contend for the title, or take the WBC to court and enforce it. Even if he's able to to get them to commit to the fact that he'll be the next opponent for the WBC title once Fury and Wilder have their third fight. That would be great. I mean, I know everyone wants to see the AJ versus Fury fight, but or whoever wins. I mean, it's I think Fury's going to win the third fight. So I'm just assuming that that's going to happen after the. I think they're going to try and push the Wilder, not the Wilder, the Fury AJ fight. But I think it's more than fair for Dillian to get his shot before AJ does. Like the situation with the WBC, it's getting beyond ridiculous now. I don't know how Mauricio Suleiman can hold a straight face and try and talk about AJ versus Fury when Dillian Whyte's been waiting for God knows how long. So I think I'd be happy to see Dillian Whyte get his shot before AJ. I think it's only fair to Dillian as a fighter who pays the sanctioning fees every time without fail to the WBC to ensure his position. I'd like to see Dillian sort of, stick it on them a little bit. I think he should be pushing Eddie Hearn as well, because Eddie Hearn was already talking about Fury versus AJ. 2-3 days after. 2-3 days after Wilder got knocked out, which is ridiculous when you think about Dillian, even though he's not a matchroom fighter, he uses Eddie Hearn, he employs his services to promote himself. It's like, how can you've been talking all about it's unfair that WBC not giving Dillian Whyte his shot, and then turn around 3 days later, you're talking about AJ and Fury. That's absolutely ridiculous, man. So I think Dillian needs to put his foot on everyone's neck a little bit, man. He needs to put it on Eddie's. He needs to put it on the WBC. And I think he should look at starting legal proceedings against the WBC for some look into it and speak to his legal team about it, because it's getting ridiculous, man. The guy's paying his fees. He's well overdue his shot. And I think he needs to take it by force now. I don't think he should play nice with any of them. And if anyone's, and if any TV network, anyone trying to say otherwise is, no, Dillian deserves his shot, and that's that. So so prediction wise, I'm saying Dillian points close, majority decision. I don't think it'll be unanimous. I think it'll be a majority, maybe even a split decision. There may be some favoritism from the judges, being that it's an English fighter, in England. But I think Dillian will win on points. So that's the prediction for that one. If you have any thoughts on the fight coming up, post up some comments. If you like the video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for the notifications. I'm going to have some more video coming up in the next couple of days. I've got 1 or 2 in mind. So yeah, just keep your eye on the channel, and yeah, I hope you guys are all safe, and you know, hope you're all safe in these weird times, man. All right, peace.